On day release, demon sub tries not to crease, and Dean walks keeping nice and warm in bed with Russian uniform. Meanwhile, the handyman is opening another can. Technical difficulties, they're really such a crime. Technical difficulties, they happen all the time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. Sometimes they're salty about the gaming biz, and nobody knows who Upworlder is. On day release, demon sub tries not to crease, and Dean walks keeping nice and warm in bed with Russian uniform. Meanwhile, the handyman is opening another can. Technical difficulties, they're really such a crime. Technical difficulties, they happen all the time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. Sometimes they're salty about the gaming biz, and nobody knows who Upworlder is.
Good evening, everybody. I hope we all enjoyed the brand new theme tune, courtesy of the awesome Ewok Kebab. Congratulations to you, sir. You smashed it yet again. While he keeps sending them, I'm going to keep using them. Just saying. Genius. Yeah.
Sounds like encouragement, that.
Yeah, definitely. I am positively encouraging you, Ewok, just in case there's any doubt, mate. It's fucking awesome. I like the lyric about us getting salty about the gaming beers.
Hey, we're not always salty, just 99%
just
of the
most
time.
of the time we're salty. Hi, Chris. Right, so I guess what we should do, we should do a shout out for the chat, shouldn't we? We've got Pandy. Welcome back, sir. That's Paul from Pandyman Entertainment. Check out the game Trench Offensive on his website because it's fucking awesome. And David and I need to come back to it at some point in 2025. So that's probably going to hit our list. Hello to Darren, Stroke Demon Sub. Check him out on Instagram. Great miniature painter. Always puts up some really interesting projects. Hello to Because of Ben, Stroke Crispin. Hello to Cheese Me. Hello to... Who else have we got? Spam and Egg. That's David's other half, for those of you who don't know. Hello to Chris. And I think that's me. That's me done. Everybody's covered. So Darren's already shouted out. He's still building his gunpla sort of what do they call them? Manga robot thingies. What's the word I'm looking for?
Well, we'll raise Demon Sub a Gunpla in a second because I have mechs, boys and girls. I have finally pulled the trigger and done some printing.
Yeah, cheese me. Bing! Well done, mate. Better half. Sold it. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Because they call them... What else do they call those Japanese robot kit things? I'm an old man and I don't know this shit.
I'm currently trying to find my deck tan, which is going really fucking awesomely.
So that means we've got to put up with you rattling and clattering and pissing.
No, because I've just got all of the paints out on the table.
Gundam. Is that what I'm thinking of? That might be what
I'm
thinking of.
Gundam that you're thinking of.
That is what I'm thinking of. Big stompy robots. Big stompy Japanese robots. So apparently we're going to be treated to the ASMR clatter version from David tonight, which is great.
Oh, fuck off, Paul. Nobody likes you. Nobody likes your smart ass.
You couldn't mute yourself while you turned the place upside down.
No.
Hello, Ewok. Well done. Thank you
everybody wants to hear my dulcet tones.
Welcome to Ewok. Thank him. Everybody in the chat, thank Ewok for the fantastic new theme tune. Awesome job. Well done. So, welcome to another live stream. If this is your first time, welcome to your first live stream. If you're checking us out on YouTube land, then next time catch us live and you can be in the chat with all these other stars of the show. We're going to be going over our... we'll follow our usual format for tonight's event. Cheese Me says the echo is annoying. Is that me?
Is it you or is it me, Cheese Me? I don't know. I thought I fixed it.
I've muted everything. Audio test. I can hear myself, but I can't hear myself echoing. It is David who's echoing. Okay. It might be just because you've got quite an open plan room and an open mic, mate. Because your place you can be quite echoey in there. We'll have to invest in some soundproofing for his hobby den. We'll go over a normal format. So we'll have a quick chat about what we're going to be hobbying on while we're here for the next couple of hours. We'll then chat about what we got up to at Gaming Club, and it was paint competition. I think I only had one submission. I apologise if I... Yeah, he did realise Ewok, his video ninja feed, had actually captured 2 audio sources, so he was... Yeah, he was transmitting 2 audio sources, which is why it was more echoey than normal.
I found my deck tan.
Yes.
It was in the last box I looked in. So my desk is currently a fucking state. From here to here is all paint, boys and girls.
You're such a... Now, you see, if you had a numerically sequenced racking, like I have, you wouldn't have had that
Why
issue,
don't
would you?
you go fuck yourself?
So yeah, then we'll talk about what we did at club, and we will share a few. I've got tons of, for some reason it's either drought or famine. It's either famine or feast. I've got a ton of things to share tonight on the old YouTubes and things I've seen on the internet, and then about 9 o'clock we'll tackle our favourite.
Paul, we don't want to know about your porn history. Just saying.
Oh, that yeah. No,
Just because you put it on the
definitely.
internet doesn't mean you need to share it with everyone.
I don't. I'm definitely putting that in, by the way. So you're gonna have to watch my entire porn consumption for a week. Ding! So yeah, we'll tackle our main topic, and our main topic is our favourite topic, isn't it, mate? To talk about, which is terrain. Terrain.
Is it though, or is it a bit too much effort?
Well, that's. I mean, also, is it the game's fault? That's.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later. So, do you want to go first then with your fucking disaster table full of paint?
Come on down to the disaster table. Come on.
Fuck's sake.
Come on, boys and girls.
Oh my
Christ! I don't have a problem, honest governor. But we'll ignore that and just shove this out of the way a minute so I've got some space.
So let me get this right.
Because
you couldn't find your deck tan. Why is that? I wonder.
Fuck off. We have a mech with a fuck off massive rifle.
So
comparatively, that's a 28mm miniature.
So go on then. Presumably this is ones and zeros 3D printed.
Yes. So this is from Unit 9. It's called a Banshee. We'll put that to one side because we now have a second mech to show you, boys and girls. This mech is called the Machete. This is from Skullforge Studios for his new game that's come out called Arsenal. Fucking amazing light mech there on a 3-inch base. And then, in similar Titanfall vibes, boys and girls, we have some pilots and some grunts.
So a couple of people have asked what game you're planning to do these for, mate. Or what are we doing?
I haven't bought the Arsenal rules yet. I want to because they look fucking amazing. But I need to find some reviews online first. But on Monday, boys and girls, I will be playing Blackout from Enemy Spotted Studios, which is some ex-forces guys in the US. I'm going to be playing a game of Blackout with Ricky. And in Blackout, you can have normal 28mm size guys, and you can have mechs. So I'm going to be doing some of that for that.
Did you see what everybody's saying? That they didn't realise that Arsenal FC had mechs.
But the nice thing that I'm looking forward to with Blackout is the play time. They reckon sub an hour.
So you and Ricky should easily get 2 games in, even with faffing about and learning the rules and stuff.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. Is it 2v2? Sorry, 1v1, or is it like a multiplayer, or?
It's 1v1. You have you can have groups, and you can play up to 3 groups per player. If you're playing 3 groups, it's on a 4x4. If you're playing a single group, it's on a 2x2. And in that group is 3 units per side. And each of those units then has between 1 and 4 miniatures in.
Hi, Rich. Okay, mate. So when you say groups, are they like Like, are they sort of independent?
Similar to, like, you know how your armor groups and shit work for Drop Zone Commander?
Okay, yeah. So yeah.
Similar to that.
They've got
kind
like a
of
loose
setup.
association within the game, but they're actually all your
Yes.
miniatures that you control. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Well, how brief is the rule set? Have you actually had a look at it yet?
Yes, the QRF is 2 pages. The entire rule book is 20. And 6 of those are denoted to scenarios.
Okay, so quite brief then. What's the dice mechanic? Did I ask you? Is it D10 pool?
D10 pool.
Yeah.
Typically, most units are throwing 2 dice for combat stats looking for a result. So 6 up for a success.
Yep.
If you're in cover, you take a dice away from your pool. If you're out in the open, you add a dice to the pool because you're more likely to get shot. So it seems relatively easy on that front. And it's basically everything's one hit and done.
Okay,
So
cool.
should be nice and brutal and over
Coolio.
quickly.
Right, okay. Well, so
Where's
what
my
are you
Russian
planning to do?
uniform?
So what are you doing tonight? Are you painting a mech then?
I'm going
Showing all
to
the
be putting
miniatures
some
off.
base coats down on some stuff.
After you've sorted
So-
out your entire paint collection?
No, I've lost my deck tan. Fuck's sake. Found it. No,
Oh my Christ, it's fucking traumatizing to watch you, man. Jesus
where
Christ.
the fuck is it?
Oh my God, he genuinely has lost it.
Found it. We're good.
Oh my God, fathers. Right, okay, shall we switch over to me and then I can sort of show off what I'm going to be doing?
Yeah, you do that a minute, mate. I'm trying to find my Russian uniform to make
Let's-
certain people happy.
Ewok's got it. I saw him nick it. So, what are we going to do tonight? Tonight, I'm coming back to these guys. I think you might have seen these 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. I don't remember. So, I am going to try and crack on with these. I'm going to do gloss black trousers, sort of like patent leather, and I'm going to do sort of like a magenta t-shirt. I'm basically just going
Cool.
full Zane with these.
Rather than a magenta t-shirt, because
Yeah.
of the yellow hues in their skin, can I civilly suggest number 71 emerald?
Okay. Emerald, you say? Number 71. I don't think I've used that recently, so I could be tempted. Go on then, done. Sold to the man in the black hat. So we're going to do gloss black, emerald, and then we're going to paint the shotguns in a more conventional palette, probably a dark brown and black and metallic for the barrels and other working parts of the shotguns.
Where the fuck is my Russian uniform?
If we're doing sort of shiny trousers, what the hell do we do with the boots?
Red leather.
I'll do a dark brown. Ooh, that might need some super glue.
Pandy has made a civil suggestion.
But no, and it's not a civil suggestion. It's a rude suggestion that he makes every time I put a miniature on screen. Paint it like so. I mean, to be fair, I suppose these guys are chubby enough. They could be Santa with a Siamese top knot.
Just missing a hat.
Oh, did a Tim sneak in? I didn't see Tim. I shall have to scroll back in the chat. I missed him. Hello, Tim. Good to see you, sir. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. Painting some of these guys because I'm determined to get one of the board games that I own playable by the end of this year, and I'm rapidly running out of time. And this one is.
Bullshit.
I'll check and make sure that the YouTube feed is set for live chat, not the. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, if you trolled in being really super abusive, maybe YouTube said, "We're going to hide that." Maybe that was a thing.
Spam, do you have my Russian uniform?
Oh, God Almighty! Do we have to do this every week? It's like, Mom, Mum, where's my trousers, Mum? Have I got any clean pants, Mum? Fucking hell.
And your point is, bitch.
Ah, fucking hell, genius. Right, okay. So yeah,
Right, let's get this on the vibrator.
what did you just say?
Let's get this on the vibrator.
Oh dear God. Right, so should we tell them a little bit about what we got up to at club then on Monday, sir?
I mean, we can do.
Yeah, let's. So it was first Monday of the month, so we had like our board game night. Yeah, I know. He's got a squeaky chair. He's got echoey walls. You're triggering everybody, mate.
Squeaky chair.
Yes, you have got a squeaky chair.
No, I haven't.
Yes.
This chair no longer squeaks, bitch.
Well, what's squeaking then?
Your mum.
She doesn't have yours, apparently. She has her own. So there you go. That's you told.
Oh, fuck. Oh, well.
Oh, no. Okay. Russian uniform, not vibrator, just for clarity. Although spam, liar. Just calling it. In the
Is that euphemism, Ewok?
she's already. Oh my God! It's the after dark, the yellow belly tabletop. Right, okay. Let's get out of this madness. So yeah, it's board game night at club. So we did something that we've not done for absolutely ages, mate, didn't we? We got a Magic the Gathering commander pool going.
We did.
And it was fun. We had 5 players, which is a little bit over the odds for those who know Commander. I'm just going to move my irritating phone out of the way so that I can crack on with some actual painting. And as a result, because we had rather a lot of players at the table. One of which was not very experienced with Magic of any kind, let alone Commander. We didn't get finished, did we? We only managed to. We still had 4 players alive when we called it at time 10 o'clock. But it was very good fun. So.
That Giro deck I've got is a spicy boy.
Yeah. Your deck did good things. I'm just going to have to put my goggles on. Hang on a sec.
My deck did very good things, didn't it?
That's better.
I did work out. I did over 21 commander damage that game. I just spread the love.
Yeah, if you'd have done it on one player, you've definitely eliminated somebody. So yeah, your Toshiro did things. Trevor really did things, or Upworlder did things with my bloody Omnath. I can't remember which version of Omnath it is. It's the one that creates elementals on landfall.
Locus of Rage?
Yeah, it could be. Locus of Rage, that sounds like about right. So yeah, that did things. Jesus Christ, once that got going, that was scary. But then again, the problem with that was it painted a massive target on Trevor's head up, and basically everybody kicked the crap out of him. So he was the only player to be eliminated, but he was in a very strong position and could easily have won it. V's deck was plodding, but then again, it is very budget, basically consisting only of my cheap, my sort of like free rubbish, and not at all tuned. What did I play? I played the Calamax deck, which is a pre-constructed. What did we have? 3 pre-constructed commander decks at the time, didn't we? It was good. It was good. It was a very good time.
The only thing I will say about your Calamax, you didn't seem to get much value.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Calamax pre-constructed deck is fine, but it isn't brilliant. However, having played a game of Commander, it did very much excite me to go and research some better Calamax decks. Now I know what the general idea of what I need to do is. I'm probably going to spend a few quid and actually make it a halfway decent deck. I found some very cheap budget builds for like $28, $30, using dirt cheap cards, which is something that, for those of you who don't know, one of the things that really makes Commander an appealing format for... It does sound like something from IKEA, Darren. It does make it an appealing format because for very, very little money, you can, because obviously the vast majority of the cards that have ever been printed for Magic are legal, you can build some really stupidly broken combo decks with cards for like that are like 5 or 10 cents. So there are loads of great YouTube channels and websites where you can research super budget Commander decks that will actually, you know, if all of your friends, as long as your friends all sort of like agree to pitch it around there, you know, as long as we're all playing to roughly the same sort of like power level, you can get some decks that are actually fun and show off what a broken and wonky format Commander can be, but all of you have got an even chance of being silly at the table and doing crazy stuff.
My Chishiro deck, I was going to go broken with Rhythm of the Wilds. You countered it by using Chaos Warp on it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Shuffling it back into my library, replacing it instead with a set of Swiftfoot boots, giving my commander hexproof and haste.
Yeah, so yeah, so I mean, again, this is the other great thing about commander decks, because obviously it's a 100 card deck where every card is unique and you're not allowed duplicates. As the game evolves, most decks that people build have multiple ways to win, and you basically just have to... Well, I think what makes it... Do you know what? That also another thing that makes it a great format is you just have to go with what you draw, and then as long as you understand your deck, you're going for the win condition that's been handed to you.
But again, I was saying to Luke on the way home, I had a really risky opening hand. I had 5 lands, a Soul Ring, and a massive card draw effect.
Yeah,
But I was like, turn 1 Soul Ring, turn 2 Commander. Let's fucking go, boys and girls.
Yeah, you decided to keep all of the lands and just hope it all worked out. And to be fair, you had quite a good game. So that was what we did in terms of gameplay, but obviously the other exciting thing was painting competition. So the theme this month was Omen.
Should we do a public service announcement?
Go on then.
Both of us were shit, and we both forgot to take our painting competition entry to club.
Yeah, that was a thing.
So they are here in chat, boys and girls, but fucking hell.
So let's start with the winner. So we only had 2 entries, as I say, because David and I were both stupid and left our models at home. We didn't actually get to enter the true competition in the club, but 2 people did bring models, and it was a face-off, and this is the winner. So V brought, I mean, he hasn't really finished his bases, but V won, I think, for me on theme alone. Obviously, I think these are all terrainy bits from Curse City, the G Games Workshop sort of boxed game thing, and so he did that. And as I say, they were sort of bang on theme. The theme was Omen. So we was, because again, quite Halloweeny was the theme. And the other entry was Trevor. Oh, I've forgotten. Trevor, or Upworlder, as he appears in the chat when he can make it, because he does work nights every other week. He'd got 2 of his Blood Bowl team, and he'd sort of created a little vignette using dice and sort of like little speech bubble paper, which I did photograph, but I haven't got here. So he was sort of like he was basically doing a it was quite clever. He created a little vignette about how the double skull in Blood Bowl was like a bad omen, and his players were sort of commenting on it, which was quite cool. Darren says he was going to paint a Plague Doctor, a skeleton, and a couple of small demons, but never got around to it. Well, that's okay, mate. You were allowed to take a month off. So there's Trevor's models, or Upworlder. This would have been my entry if I'd have made it. So I've painted. David gave me some of the 3D prints of the models for the Arkham Files universe for Fantasy Flight, and this is Father Mateo. So I painted up Father Mateo in all of his glory. And I'm really pleased with this model. I mean, this is literally 2 or 3 hours work. I'm really chuffed with this. I enjoyed doing it. It wasn't, I didn't labour. It wasn't a labour of love, but I think I've got a really good look. This was Chris's entry. So Chris B. Raps, who's in the chat, he sent this in. Now, his sort of like allusion to Omen was that this bird-like creature had elements of a raven in it. And obviously ravens are famously, sort of like in folklore and mythology, they are creatures of ill omen. So he sent this in, which I'm not sure where the miniature's from, Chris. Is it?
It looks possibly like a 3D print, and it kind of looks like a Zinch change
It does
demon.
have, I mean, with the colour palette, the blue and that, it does have massive Zinchy vibes. And the base is awesome, frankly. It's really cool. I'm assuming I don't know if it's probably just a 3D print with texture. It might all just be printed like that, because Chris is into his printing, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, Chris, is he's still here?
Yeah.
He designed it.
Ooh. So what, you did all the 3D sculpting? Very flash. He's giving himself a plug there.
Is that, what's it called? Is that contrast on it? Just out of curiosity, or contrast equivalent?
Yeah, I suppose it does look like that. So what's happening, Chris? Are you launching a Kickstarter, mate? Patreon? So it is contrast painted. Nice. Did you? Is it a long paint, Chris, or was it like a quick and dirty, get it to the table, get it ready paint job after you'd done all the design work? What was the
Modus operandi.
Yeah, what was the story behind that? Put it in the comments. And then this is David's, or would have been David's entry if, like me, he'd remembered to take his models with him. So what have you got here, mate?
Seers from Mythic Battles Ragnarok.
Very cool. And how long did it take? These were large, because you were painting. Weren't you painting these on stream? Or no, you were painting them when I spoke to you on Wednesday night.
I painted them on stream, and then I painted them on Sunday.
And this was, again, was it Vallejo? What's their contrast one called?
Vallejo Express colour for the purple. Yeah. That was put on last month, and then they sort of sat there. And then I've gone in, edge highlighted all the purple with an army paint of purple.
So you've done a combination of speed paints and standard
speed paint
acrylics
for the biggest area.
Yep.
And then I've gone in and done detail work normally. So I've done the skin properly, the metallics properly, the furs on the back of the neck. I am the happiest with them. They are literally a grey base coat and then a fucking non-oil wash.
Awesome.
No proper highlighting on that, but they've popped out beautifully.
Yeah, they look really cool, man. And great models for the theme as well. Really great models for the theme. You see, I must confess, I'm becoming a real fan of this minimalist painting, because it just allows you to get work done so quickly. You lot now live on the small screen to the left. I need the big one for trying to figure out a new OBS. Okay, you're working on your stream stuff, are you, Tim? Nice one, mate. Fucking hell. Yeah, good luck with that, cheese me. We'll forget. We will forget. It's just life gets
What's
in the
that?
way. Cheesy was saying we need a reminder to make you take your models to club.
I
But
would
do you
have.
know
They
what?
literally sat on my desk. I picked everything else up. It's just I had a really shit Monday when I came home from work.
Yeah.
So I just fucking flew out the door and got them, because the other thing is I had to drive through to the next village to get Luke, and I was fucking, 20 minutes late coming to club because of the driving
you
and
did
everything
message
else.
to say you were late with all the stuff that was going on. Mine is because Monday's like a day off for me and I'm at home, I tend to get engrossed in things, and then I look up and it's like, oh shit.
Actually, I'll tell you something else we need to tell the boys and girls at home about.
Yeah.
We got together on Saturday night. Me, you, and Spam, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we did. Shit, I forgot to put the photos up for that.
Played some Carnivale.
Yes, we did. So we had a bonus gaming sesh.
Spam has decided on what she wants for Carnivale. The bastard.
It was, my God, it was a long one.
It was a long one. We finished at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning.
A ridiculously late finish. But like you say, Spam was trying out. So is it a guild sub-faction?
Yeah, it's a guild box, Ladies of the Night, and the expansion for it, which has got the witch and the blooded in and everything else.
Just playing with proxy models.
Yeah, she was playing with proxy models, and then you were playing with proxy models as well, weren't you, Paul?
Because guess what? Not only did I forget to take my models to paint comp, I forgot to take my bloody models to the gaming night on Saturday as well. So I ended up playing with whatever crap that could be dragged up. I think it was Frostgrave models in the end, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Frostgrave.
But do you know what? Because I wasn't sort of like tied to the things I had painted. I just tried some new things from the vampires, the Strigoi list, and I did enjoy them actually. I've made a few discoveries. I did very much like the what is it? I like having more human. What do they call them? The vampire thralls. And playing, because actually I played the entire list pretty much. I played everything as vampires that I could. So I played as many of my henchmen as vampires as I could. I had a common Strigoi and a what's the guy called? I think he's called Newborn Strigoi. So he is technically a vampire, but he's relatively cheap and a little bit out of control. But I did like having a lot more vampires. We did. There was a couple of things that did impress us with. That impressed me with Spam's list. That I like. She's got a model like an assassin model that can basically just teleport around the board. Admittedly, we did forget that he had to be 6 inches away from enemy models when he appeared.
Have you just fucking seen what she's put in chat?
Yeah, to be fair though, I mean, it's only your second game.
Anywhere.
Sorry?
Can't take her fucking anywhere.
Look, a 3-way, oh my God. So yeah, it was, I mean, again, I said to David during the game, Carnivale could easily be. Oh my God! Look at the chat. I did. Don't look, everybody. Carnivale could easily be my only game. If it was Carnivale was the only game I played, I'd be happy. And it'd definitely give me enough hobby to keep me busy. But we might come across that later.
I'm fucking being attacked apparently in chat. Jesus fucking H Christ.
Why?
You ain't got a fucking ring on it yet. Quit your whinging.
I won't even ask what sort of ring.
Wedding.
Oh, not cock.
No, not cock.
Okay, just so that we're clear. Right, okay. Dear God. So yeah, that was it. That was our bonus gaming. The mission for anybody who cares was one from the core rulebook, wasn't it, mate? One of the campaign missions.
Yeah, I can't remember what the fuck it was called now.
Where we used
Out the Wings of Fate campaign. I know that much.
Yeah. Basically, you have 6 objectives placed around the board, and then you have 5 of the agenda cards, which are like the secondaries in Carnivale. I'll tell you what I did.
You guys...
I mean, we've said it before when we've talked about Carnivale, and fuck it, I'm going to say it again at the risk of being repetitive and tedious. Those agenda cards are a bit fucking random. There is an element of frustration. There is an element of frustration. Like in my first 5 cards that I drew, there was one. What was it? I had to kill models at 6-inch range. Well done. I bought a close combat list where I
kill them at further than 6-inch range.
Yeah, and it's
kill
like,
them from outside of 6 inches. Venetian sniper, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And it's like, this ain't fucking happening.
Yeah, also, dude, should we just talk about mine? Have my leader kill an enemy leader, have my leader kill 3 other characters.
Yeah.
How about no?
Yeah, again, when you draw 5 cards and 2 of them basically are put my leader in incredible peril for the entire game, when he's not really a combat style leader, but more of a magic-y guy, it's like... whatever. I mean, the game does give you chances. It gives you a mechanism to swap those out, doesn't it? But it is quite expensive on your command point resource.
On the doors in the end, I'd scored what, 5?
Either that or 6. I got 9 and Spam got 8. So it wasn't, wildly awry in terms of the score. And
it didn't go all the way down to the wire, didn't it?
Yeah, it was very close. Which is why, to be fair, we kept playing as late as we did instead of calling it. Because if somebody had like a 9-0 lead by turn 3, with no...
And you had a 5-0 lead by turn 3, but none of us could fucking score any of the other objectives for a bit, could we?
But obviously... looking at it, the way the mission was scored and the way the table was set up, we still had plenty of opportunities for grabbing objectives at the end of the game, so we played it out, and it was good fun. Very good fun. So should we talk about some of the bits and bobs off to internet? Where are we here? We're gonna do.
I mean, you can do. I'm just having a look at Titanfall reference images.
Okay. So, first of all, the new German rules have been revealed for Bolt Action 3rd edition. Apparently this is going to be one of the first books to come out. Let's put it in that format. There we go. Get rid of that stupid sidebar. So this is going to be one of the first books to be released. I think they've done a Warhammer community article on it, but I watched Mordian's video where he sort of discussed it and read it out loud because it allowed me to paint and do other things while I was listening to it. And I'm now, I don't know whether to buy, because I before have only got the Japanese stuff for 2nd edition, and I am thinking about whether I want to collect more of the books for the 3rd edition, so that I've got access to more stuff.
Can I counter with?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Well, I do need to build a Germans list because the Germans was my faction of choice for sort of like late war Europe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
Against airborne.
the thing is, it's like, because I don't have a crystal ball, I will be sort of annoyed if I buy this and then they do a market garden supplement. Do you know what I mean? But then again, I don't know. Again, because I don't have a crystal ball, even if I buy a market garden supplement and want to build German lists out of it, will I need the German list book as well? So is it actually a good buy anyway? Anybody who does have a crystal ball and knows anybody who does have a crystal ball and wants to send me the answer to that, then please do. Writing to MPs doesn't work, says he will ask the people of Clacton. When they were losing, Paul? Question mark. I'm not sure what that means, but the Germans, is that? Yeah, they definitely lost World War II. I don't think I'm misremembering that. Yeah. Yeah, do you not? Because that's another thing. Cheese me. Oh, the late war Germans. Yes. Yeah. When they were losing, definitely. I see you point there, Paul. Yeah, definitely. Well, so Cheese me says there that he doubts it's changing in third. So, are they not going to be re-releasing the campaign books? Do you think? That's quite good then. That means that actually I could probably just get Market Garden and go with like the stuff that's in the third edition core book and not bother with the German book. Because you haven't got the Market Garden supplement book yet, have you, mate?
No, I haven't.
Right. I might do that then. So presumably then for third, they'll either do new campaign books and just like army books without revisiting campaign books they've already done, which does make sense because I bet you 90% of the material, because it's all like historical stuff and historical scenarios, it probably is completely unchanged for the new edition, and there is an element of that's a complete waste of both development time and paper to reprint those, which in a way is good. Because if it means the books have that element of being evergreen, not changing too much, that sounds to me like a fucking win. And I'm sure everybody who's already got a much more massive collection of books than myself, who's mostly got Pacific supplements, for the Japanese, is grateful for the fact. Yeah. Okay. So, but anyway, great. Obviously, really exciting news for Bolt Action 3rd edition. It seems to be being received very well. I was actually thinking when I was watching this, the other thing about I'll have to arrange a game with Ricky so that we can try out the 3rd edition rules and the changes with cover and stuff. Because obviously we get all the basic rules for the main nations in the 3rd edition rulebook. So we've got German army rules, we've got Japanese army rules. We've got enough to play with, certainly. I do like the addition. So for anybody who's read this article, they've got this. They're doing like sub-factions. So, like, they've created specific rules for Fallschirmjäger units. And whereas before you were sort of like limited, when you bought a unit, it was either here or Fallschirmjäger, you can now buy like a squad and it'll have, I can't remember what they call it, but they basically have a rule where you can add the Fallschirmjäger rule to it or not. It becomes optional. So they've really sound like they've really focused on the army building tech and the list building tech, and it sounds quite cool, to be honest. Because it allows people to get more variety, but without necessarily having to buy a ton of extra models and stuff. Which I'm a big fan of. Getting more different options out of my toys sounds to me like a total win. What else we got? Lords of War Games and Hobbies. A brilliant video, this one from them. these guys have got they've got a great style. I love the way they come across. Yeah, probably cheese me. It probably is a way of reducing duplication, and again, it stops them having to do all of the special books, because they can say, like, obviously, you know, you can take these units as Fallschirmjäger, or what's the Winter Troopers, begins with G. Tim, you'll know. You're fluent. You're German. Gerben something. They're basically rough terrain. The idea is, I think, that they're rough terrain troops, but they tended to be like specialised for. They all come fitted with skis and that for winter.
Hey, Shark.
Hiya, Shark. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, mountain troops. Probably that's it. Gebirgsjäger. Thank you. Yep. Well done. My German not great. So yeah, hello Shark. So yeah, Lords of Wargames and Hobbies. This video is great. No, they're basically the gist of the video is don't worry about what game you play. And it's sort of like it's just a reminder to focus on A, that hobby should be fun, B, it's a social activity, because like basically what they say is, as a gaming group, you'll make a joint decision about what you play, because you'll play the things that you'll buy and play the things that you get onto the table, and that is not necessarily a decision that you will make alone. But it's a great video, because for me, I watched it and I thought it just reinforced some of those things that I've learned over the years, which is, you've got to be flexible. You know, these people are your friends. They're your social circle. You've got to give. You've got to take. If somebody wants to play a particular game, do you know what? Play it. If they've got the stuff and you don't need to put your hand in your pocket, they literally just say, just stand on the other side of the table and try and have as much fun as possible. Do that for your friend. Do you know what I mean? And then they'll do the same for you. If you've got a particular itch you want to scratch, or a pet project, then, you know, what goes around comes around, and it's just a great video. It's sort of like a feel-good video for wargaming. Sort of like the antithesis of our stream, isn't it, really, mate?
Yeah, we make people feel good after we kick 7 bells of shit out of them.
Oh, dear. Right, I'm sorry if I'm not interacting in chat, but I can't see chat when I'm on this. Next, right, we're going to go from one extreme. We're going to go from feel-good to absolute salt fest. Okay, so this video. We talked about Magic the Gathering at the beginning, because obviously we played a Commander pod at our local club on Monday, but Magic the Gathering had their Games Workshop product launch moment. I think it was at the weekend. So, for those who don't know, the TLDR version is Wizards of the Coast wanted to release one of these stupid secret lair boxes where all the cards, or it was a range of products where all the cards are themed around Marvel IP, but they are obviously for Magic the Gathering. And I watched this video by Kenobi, Pleasant Kenobi, and it sounded just like one of those god-awful Saturday launches by Games Workshop. Everybody sat around in a computer queue. People like scalpers and that found loads of bypasses, like they found links to bypass the queue. People were cheating the system. Loads of people ended up not being able to buy the products they wanted because they went out of stock in the blink of a fucking eye. It stressed people out, it ripped people off, and it left everybody feeling absolutely deflated and disgusted with the whole experience.
Might just turn around and say, is this your first time?
I'll be honest, I literally commented on this because Pleasant Kenobi does also 40k content, and I said,
Yeah.
sounds like a GW fucking pre-release. It's like absolute bullshit. This sort of experience is what basically drew a line under Games Workshop for me, and I am so glad that I don't have a commitment to playing Magic seriously, and that I am Captain Super Casual, buy a box of 5-cent rares off fucking eBay, do you know what I mean? Or I am not into any. I haven't bought a sealed Magic product since I was about 24 years old, 25 years
You're
old.
a lying bastard.
It's like, I am so fucking glad I'm out of this. But the other thing that absolutely made my blood boil is that these big companies are all the fucking same, man. The problem with this is, it's toxic, it's miserable, but do you know what it does do? Generates fucking tons of cash. Absolute lorry loads of cash. You know, all the scalpers were in there cleaning out, spending tens of thousands of dollars because they know they can double the fucking money like that. It's absolute horseshit. And I'm out. But you know what? If you're into that sort of thing, you fill your fucking boots, because I don't want anything to do with it. MS Paints had a video. This was super cool, this video. And not really because the gaming content was excellent, but just because this is what Dave at MS Paints does best. This video was like a short film and was just such a good laugh. He the hobby part of it, the gaming part of it, is he basically painted a rather not very good plastic kit of a xenomorph hound from the Alien 3 ? That he picked up in Japan, that was released in the 90s, I think, whenever that film came out anyway. So that was the hobby element of this. But it's just, again, it's just full of Dave's fantastic cinematography, and he gets a mate of his to re-render some of the really dodgy scenes from Alien 3 and try and improve the visuals with modern tech. And it's just entertainment. This video, even if you're not into hobby, it's just bloody entertaining. It's just great content for YouTube. Man's an absolute genius. I love watching Dave's stuff. Even though I don't necessarily walk away from it inspired to hobby on the back of it, his YouTube content is absolutely, undeniably entertaining. My last video is Miniac's most recent video, which is a terrain-based one, which is why it's sort of here, because I think it feeds into the main topic. So in this, Miniac basically tries out... Now, you did tell me the name of the company, didn't you, mate?
Snot Studios, I think.
That's it.
Snot
Snot
Studios
Goblin.
or something.
Is it Snot Goblin?
Yeah, something like that.
Basically, it's like modular terrain. I think it's designed with a Grimdark 40k aesthetic, but he does a really great job of painting up one of the pieces. He basically slots all the bits together and paints a piece up for Age of Sigmar, because that's, I think, his favourite Games Workshop fix. Obviously, Miniac's a really accomplished painter and hobbyist, so the video's good from that point of view. But because it sort of like got me thinking about terrain, and particularly like the plastic terrain like this, that, you know, he does do a great job, but there is a lot of fucking work in it. And that brought us to it brought us down around to the evergreen topic for us about terrain and the amount of work it takes to actually get the stuff ready to play with. So I'm going to recommend it here. But again, it is a good video by Miniac. He's a bit hit and miss for me. Some of his videos I'm like, what? I don't No thanks. But this one's actually quite good. And last but not least, I'm going to give a shout out to our mate Alex, who goes to our game club, Alex Hall. He's got a podcast. So if you check out Beyond the Wall : a meme team podcast on Spotify, you can go and give Alex some love. Now, I think you've listened to this, mate. Is it Age of Sigmar themed, or is it just competitive Games Workshop?
It's mainly competitive GW focused. So the 17th of October, which is the one that I've been listening to, Alex is talking about his Old World Army and going down to London Grand Tour.
Yeah, so because Alex is a big tournament guy, so obviously that's his focus. Complete antithesis to me and David, who probably would never enter a tournament in our lives. Don't want to speak for you, mate, but I know I wouldn't.
I think if I was going to enter into anyone, it would be an Armada tournament.
Ooh, you said that. He's called it. So
well, I play dwarves, so I'm pretty fucking resilient.
Oh, you're gonna win then? Dwarves are the top 3 slots with their fucking dreadnoughts. Broke ass.
No, we're not broken. We're just very, very, very competitive.
And survivable as fuck and really annoying. Yeah, and broken. That.
No, we're not broken.
Yeah, you are.
No, set fire to us. You can kill us.
Yeah, eventually.
Just saying.
Eventually. Beyond the Wall : a meme team podcast. Not beyond your
Not
wall :
beyond the wall : like some fucking medical definition.
Yeah, not beyond your large bowel. Yes, but yes, Shark. Broken as in too damn good to be any good. Fucking dwarves in Armada. Load of shite.
Do you want to know the best thing, though? The last time I played Armada, I gave Ricky a receiving end of the medicine. Because the best is in that game, he couldn't shoot me. Because of the risk of taking his own captain out, so he had to board me.
Oh, great.
He's like, you're a twat. You're an absolute twat. I went, yeah, what's your problem?
Yeah,
Suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah. Sort of like, anyway, does he? Because he has some dwarf boats in his pirate list. Anyway.
It's his flagship.
Oh, right, you're both as bad as each other, then, you fucking beardy bastards. So yeah, that's it. That's my news. Almost perfectly timed. Do you have anything you wanted to mention quickly, mate?
Not hugely, I don't think. I don't think there's anything I want to mention. I do, if we can go down to my desk cam a second.
Yes,
I would like boys and girls' opinions.
Okay, opinion o'clock. Oh, that's true. We did do the Blood Bowl tournament at GW. I think that was the last probably tournament I ever went to, Chris. Jesus, how long ago was that? David's table. Right, okay. Let's go to the where painting goes to die. Yeah, go on then.
So
No, you didn't cheese me. I will give the theme in a minute. As soon as I remember what it is.
I know what it is, so I'll come to that in a second. German Field Grey is the T-shirt, and then I've done the armour with military green. Now, in the Titanfall game, they are wearing all green. Focus, you bitch. But I don't know as I want to paint his trousers green, because then I think we've just got too much green going on.
Well,
so
you could go with
suggestions, boys and girls.
Why don't you go with a more washed out green for the pants?
What, like a pastel green?
What have you got? Military, brown violet?
Brown violet is not at all green, sir.
It definitely has green notes in it. I will have.
I need green grey for highlighting that, so I can't be using.
I mean,
green
you could go olive green, but I think that's going to look a bit crazy. I would go for a green grey or a grey, you know, a sort of like a really muted colour. I think if it was me. What number's military green?
89.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't find my Russian uniform, cheese me. We've been through this.
Yeah, so that's dark as fuck, isn't it? Yeah, I go with a brown violet. A 93. Because it's very close to Russian uniform, basically. 94.
What about 165 green grey?
Yeah, you could do. It's up to you. Yeah, I mean I mean you could even go the full khaki, go like German camo beige or stone grey if you want to go even lighter, and just go for like a beige combat colour.
Yeah, because the other guy's gonna mainly be deck tan.
Yeah, Bray Matter Beige is.
One.
I think Cheese Me saying Bray Matter Beige, which is, from what I've seen of it, that's in the German camo beige sort of stone grey zone.
Ooh. Light green grey. 106.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to go super contrast, you'll be able to read your model clearly. But I mean, does that say military to you? Green and then super pastel grey?
Having a rummage.
I mean, I suppose it depends on what you want to go for in terms of the authenticity of the look. Doesn't it?
Well, the thing is, with Titanfall, let me see if I can do something in a minute. Actually, this might be quite sketchy. Let's see.
You doing something
You
sketchy?
can.
Surely not.
Right. Bear with me a second. Let me find the tab that I want it to be. Here we go, this one. So it wants to be that one. Fuck off all the other ones a second, and then I can reopen them in a minute, because then I know what I'm doing. This will be on my face cam, boys and girls.
Ooh. Let me see if I can get it up here. What, you mean your main scene shot?
Yeah, my face cam. Be on my face cam.
Well, at the moment, we're just seeing you.
You shouldn't be. It should be sharing. Oh, because it shares it as a new edit in the room, doesn't it?
So I have to copy a URL, do I? Yeah, okay.
Possibly.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me do this.
No, you're not going to do it.
How can I do this? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this and see if this works.
Yeah, well, in a second, I'm just getting a different one. I've just got it as its own image.
Right, hang on a minute. Let me go back to the main shot for just a second. Right, try that. Obviously, you'll be on a few second delay. How about that?
I can't tell.
Hopefully, everybody can see that.
Oh, because I'm not like, there we go. Yeah. I'm there, fine. So, on the right here, we have a militia pilot wearing mainly green.
So, where are these pictures from? Are they from this game?
Titanfall game, yeah.
And they're from Titanfall.
Yeah, so we have the militia pilot in green, pretty much nose to tail green. And then this guy on the other side is the IMC, which is the force that they're fighting against.
I mean, pilots, they pretty much do one-piece jumpsuits, though, don't they? So they tend to be unicolor. And I'm sure somebody who knows anything about military or aviation history would tell me why they're all one-piece overalls rather than separate trousers and jackets. but I don't know why that is. But I'm fairly sure, you tend to see like even modern pilots have jumpsuits, don't they?
Yeah.
The grey got a vote from Cheese Me, and Pandy reckons the grey's the cooler one as well.
I am going to be doing some grey ones. I'm just doing the green guys first.
Battletechs have no uniform. What? They're naked, Cheese Me. Really?
But my here being,
I could be drawn into BattleTech. I didn't realise that everybody was naked.
now you just sound like a fucking pervert. Just saying.
Yeah. So.
But obviously, I'm doing my greens. I've got my military green. I've got my German field. Now, some of these are like one-piece leotardy jumpsuits, so I could go all the way down, but I'm just feeling that might be a little too much. Sort of, what colour do I pick up instead?
I mean, if that's the way the model reads, though, mate, that's the way it would be. I would just lean into it. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got plenty of webbing and ammo pouches and other details, haven't you?
Yeah, I have on some of them, yeah.
I mean, again, I suppose it depends on whether you want how hard you want to lean into the authenticity, because these models have a consistent color palette for a reason, in that it tends to make them difficult to see their outline and that sort of thing. It's all quite deliberate.
Yeah.
Aaron Reese, you never know what you're going to have to stick into a data port. That's fucking funny. Battletech only wear cooling vests. Well, with little sort of like heat sinks on the nipples. Is that something?
Genuinely can't take you anywhere, can we?
Sort of like freaking Battletech pilots with permanently stiff nipples because of the heat sinks.
But anyway, that's where we're at, and I'm going to come out of that now.
You could have warned me, so I could have sort of like spared people the black screen of death.
No, we'll back screen of death the shit out of these people.
No female pilots in Battletech because they have too much fun with the joysticks. That's rude, Cheesemeat. Go to the back of the class. Right, it's 9 o'clock. Is it main topic o'clock, mate?
No, it's not 9 o'clock. You need to learn to read the fucking time properly.
Okay, well, what is it?
9
Okay, so it's at some point after the 9 of the PM.
We saw 9 PM somewhere in the world, you twats.
It's 9 PM post meridian. The 9th hour post the meridian. Yeah, so terrain. David and I, if you caught our stream 8 months ago, or it is nearly a year ago, I think, we sort of like had a bit of a, we're going to commit to doing terrain in 2024, and it's the unloved child, or I think as we said in our YouTube video, it's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. So we're going to, give it our best shot and devote a lot of our attention to it. And how's that gone, mate?
Where do we start? I mean, we've both been fairly productive. We've both found that actually painting terrain on the stream or assembling terrain on the stream isn't too bad.
Yeah.
It's less tenuous than, say, what I'm doing right now, which is obviously painting miniatures and not overly paying attention to chat. At least with terrain, I can do stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is.
So it's perks, but for those of you that are regulars here, you'll know that it's taken me 3 weeks to build a crematorium. It took me a couple of weeks to build my cat house, which is over that side. I've been doing some bits and pieces this year for flames as well, which has been quite nice. So all in all, I'd say for me it's not gone too bad. what about yourself? And then we can come on to diving deep in a second.
Well, I got a load of pre-coloured stuff from Warcradle
Mythos.
for Mythos, which I haven't used because we haven't got it to the table. I've painted and acquired a few bits for Frostgrave because obviously we've needed campaign specific terrain for the Red King event. So I got my fetishes, don't snigger at the back, Crispin. My fetishes painted and snowed up. I got a big tent for one of the scenarios, which is a great terrain piece. It's about 3/4 painted. I've painted a bit of Carnivale terrain. I painted some sort of like sewer channels and some bridges which were part of the Carnivale range from TT Combat for use in a Frostgrave scenario as it happens, but they're just as usable in like Carnivale, and in fact we used them on Saturday night. So again, like you, I've made some progress with bits and pieces. I don't think I'm missing anything much, am I? In terms of what I've actually done in the best part of a year.
No, I don't necessarily think you are missing anything.
I mean, I've built some barbed wire that I haven't yet finished painting, because painting the wire coils around this stuff is fiddly as fuck, because oddly enough it's a coil of wire around a frame, and to paint it neatly is a pain in the arse.
I built a thingy tower the other week, didn't I? I built windmill for Wild West Exodus as well. Done some 3D printing bits and pieces for Armada. So we've been doing bits. We've been making progress.
The thing is, for me, is we sort of said it at the time, and it's the sort of like 10 months or so that we've been painting terrain or trying to focus on terrain has made me realise, oh my god, even the smallest thing takes such a huge amount of time relative to...
Do you want to know the next thing that I'm going to just hit on here?
Go on.
You sit there, want to play a game, want to have all this terrain, and as we've said, it takes so long to do and to process it.
Yeah.
That actually you could have built 2 armies for your game in the meantime. And we'll come to this more in a second, actually, because we both said it this year, actually, haven't we? Like my playing table that I built, the raids that I got pre-done, wonderful. I can use them for... Oh, Paul.
Yeah.
Before main topic, and we carry on waffling for the next fucking 25 minutes.
Oh, the painting topic. Go on.
It is, let me just quote it verbatim so that I don't get shouted at for giving you guys the wrong one. It is... Fuck off. There. On the steps to heaven. That
So
is
there you go, guys. That's your painting
steps
competition.
to heaven.
That's your painting competition entry for next month. So just to be absolutely crystal clear, we will be showing the models off at our claiming club on the 2nd of December. Then we'll be sharing pictures and discussing things on the stream on Thursday, the 5th of December. So if you want to get something in that's on topic or as close as you want to be, because to be honest, it's more about just getting something painted and getting work done than being, you know, that guy. then by all means, you've got two ways to do it. You can either use the email address that's in the link below to send it to us, or you can, if you're a member of the On Tabletop community, and if you're not, why not? You can DM me on the Discord server with your entry, and then we will include it in the stuff that we show off at the beginning of December. So yeah, back to our scheduled program. While we're talking about it, I'm just going to bring up this. So another thing that's got me thinking about terrain is obviously we've moved into On Tabletop's new Terrain Fest season. And you know what? As I was thinking about Terrain Fest, all I could think about was all of the terrain projects that I've got half finished or half done, and it ended up feeling more like a spring clean challenge. For those who don't know, On Tabletop have a spring clean challenge, and the idea there is you take something that you've started ages ago and never finished, and then actually get it over the line. And I'm crossing the streams here. I feel like fucking Egon in Ghostbusters, fucking. Because it's like everything I want to do for terrain is something that I started like a year ago and haven't fucking finished it. So yeah, terrain has been on our brains. But one of the things, I don't know if we're doing it wrong or what.
We did painting comp and said about that. So, for those that have been here on stream for the past 12 months, I've been doing stuff for Flames of War. It's still not fully finished, but it's making progress.
So, I mean, break your Flames of War down, because there are elements to it, aren't there? You've got your roads. You basically bought them as they are. You bought them on eBay. Bang, they're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have rivers? Do you have rivers yet?
Yes, done the rivers.
Do you have bridges?
No.
Okay, so you have, and the rivers are finished and usable and playable.
Yeah.
Roads are usable and playable.
Yeah.
Now, what about all of your linear
Hang on a
stuff?
minute. This is what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Printed a load of walls, which are base coated, and I need to do some further detail and work on.
Okay.
Printed a church, which is about 75% done, and again, I need to just finish it off.
Okay.
Right. I bought and got gifted a load of Empires at War terrain, pre-done MDF, pre-coloured MDF.
That's right. Yeah, you did.
All built, all done, all lovely.
And you're not gonna embellish it. You're not gonna wash it. You're not gonna dry brush it. You're not gonna add to it. It is done as far as you're concerned.
Yes. It's a bit flat, but fuck it. What's the next thing on the list? Trees.
Yes, we are, Aaron.
I've been backwards and forwards on trees for ages. I've done some bases for them. I've built them because they were Woodland Scenics armatures. I've applied flock. I've sealed about half of them, and I've been playing with them.
Yeah, you had some issues with flock loss, didn't you? Where they sort of like shed
Yes, I did. And again, it takes so long and so much space to apply and seal the flock. That's why they're not fully finished yet. But I can, out of that terrain set, utilise the roads, the trees, the mat. I bought some hills, but they're nowhere near done yet. So I can use them, the roads, the trees, the rivers for other games. I am not doing them specifically with flames in mind.
Right.
Which is good to a degree because it means that, like 2025, me and Paul have already sort of started discussing bits and pieces that we want to do. And as all of you know that have been here regularly on stream, I want a fantasy army. Well, that's 90% of a fantasy table done already with very little effort, which is where I'm going with this. You compare that to my Wild West Exodus. I've had that 2 years. I'm only just getting round to building it. I've got, I think, about another 3 sprues to build. And then Wild West Exodus is done, other than rocks and scattery bits and pieces.
But certainly the most, for me, the most important thing is the bits that you're working on. They just need assembling, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. And like listening to you talk about your Flames of War project, what I'm hearing is, if I bought it basically ready to play, I'm golden. If I had to do anything to it, I'm not there yet. And
yes and no, because in theory the War Cradle stuff is ready to go once it's built for Wild West Exodus. But I just haven't got round to finishing it because they're a slog to do. And this is where sort of tonight's topic comes in. Because Wild West Exodus, Frostgrave, Carnivale are very specific aesthetics for the models, for the terrain that you want to build and play with. Flames of War is because of the scale, but it's not so terrible that you can't proxy some 28mm stuff in and other stuff. Do you see what I'm trying to say here?
Mm.
So the point that I'm sort of coming to is, at least for me, a more versatile collection of terrain that will work for 3 or 4 different games is better than terrain that is very specific and flavourful for one game.
Do you actually have any games? I suppose you play Infinity, don't you? But because I agree with you. I think that, but the thing is, there's 2 elements to that, isn't there? It's not about the terrain. It's not just about the terrain that you choose to make or buy, even, but the games you play, because some games are just not compatible with generic terrain. I mean, I've got a few of them in the thumbnail, but one we've already talked about tonight, Carnivale. The terrain for that game is so specific. Dense, urban, Renaissance fucking Venice. 1700s with canals and water and verticality. I mean, Aaron says keeping terrain in front of you so that it visually nags you is important. Things put away are often forgotten. That is very true. And it definitely happens for me. The problem is I do find it a bit overwhelming sometimes to be surrounded by all the things that are demanding my attention. But I will agree with Aaron that the fatal flaw is clearing stuff away to sort of like relieve yourself of that stress, because immediately it's gone, it's forgotten.
Yeah, you couldn't really care about it when it's tucked away.
I mean, Shark was saying about crafted terrain, and it can be pretty inspiring. YouTube hobby guys do stuff very inexpensively and craft it very well, easier than you might expect. Yeah.
I mean, again, there's no arguing the crafting element is what it is. But more, I think, for me and Paul, it isn't just the crafting element, it's the volume of time. Like Armada, I said to Paul that I've got the same islands that he bought at Partisan, but he would have to paint them, texture them, everything else. So Paul immediately turned around and went, no, I'm going to get these because these are pre-done.
Yeah.
Which, hats off to him, he knows what he wants, which is shit to get on with that he doesn't have to fuck around with.
Yeah, I mean...
but it has kicked my arse into gear that I'm going to start printing some of it and getting on with it and getting a table built for Armada, because it's one of the games that I don't have a set for at the moment.
Yeah,
So it
I
is
mean,
swings and roundabouts.
Shark says he saw this one guy make a realistic flowing river, not like a blue paint thing, but with clear jelly, rapids, and foam and all that. Luke from Geek Gaming Scenics used to do some incredible table boards with waterfalls and stuff like that. The thing is, those sort of things, I totally give it you. They are inspirational. I love watching Boulder Creek Railroad. That guy from Australia, is he?
Yeah, he's so
New
fucking
Zealand.
talented.
He's a scale modeler, and he produces like beautiful photorealistic model projects. But I watch them and I think that's beautiful, but I'm never going to do that, because obviously what I want is terrain that's just to enable me to play a game. But for me, every month that goes by, I come down more and more and more and more on the side of I just want to buy it, unpack it, and use it.
Did you buy Chroma out of curiosity?
Not yet. I think today's the last day, isn't it?
Sounds about right.
Let me just check. I think it was 8 days. I'm just going to check, guys, whether Chroma... TT Combat, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
$24 hours to go. I almost certainly will back it either tonight or tomorrow. At the £100 pledge. Simply because, again, I glue it together. It is done. Night Demon. Sweet. Have a good night, mate. But again, it's the other problem I have is I am a sap for games that have massive demands on my terrain time and massive demands on my terrain collection. I mean, I haven't even started getting into like various different smaller scales, 6mm, or I haven't, or 10mm or 15mm. I love Batman Miniatures game, but what on the thumbnail, David and I were talking about it last night. If you imagine the most generic wargaming table you can, a 4x4 board that's either like textured scrubland, just a bit of grass and like filler and paint, or even go to it's like a mat where it's like a pseudo desert scrubland and you just put a few beige rocks or grey rocks on it. And it could be any scale, it could be anywhere, it could be any time. Any game that you can play on that, Firefight, 40k, Age of Sigmar,
Infinity to a degree.
Sorry, what, mate?
Infinity to a degree.
No, you couldn't play
the setting you can.
No, because it'd just be a kill zone. And everything would die before the game got started. Do you know what I mean? Because Infinity requires that almost total cover. If you can't literally use a short action to move from cover to cover with 4 inches without exposing an ARO, then you're going to have limitations on your game of Infinity. And, ARO pieces with heavy machine guns and a ton of ballistic skill boosts are going to maul you. And you're just going to have a shit game. And I agree with you, the visual aesthetic doesn't matter as much. You probably could play Infinity on it. Would it work? Abso-fucking-lutely not. I mean, you're not wrong in that respect. But there's just, and like I say, I think it's something I hadn't really thought of before, but maybe I need to be thinking of it more when I think about games I want to get into. When I think, oh, that game looks cool and I quite like that mechanic and I've never seen that mechanic in another game, I need to slap myself a couple of times around the face and say, stop. As well as buying 2 armies, what else are you gonna have to do before you can play this game?
I mean, again, here's a good sort of flip point and a way of looking at it. I know what you're saying about cool mechanics, etc. And I get that that's your jam, that's your vibe, that's what you breathe and die for.
Well, that is what excites me often about a game, to be fair. That's what tends to draw me moth-like towards it.
But there's the flip side of it may not be the coolest of ideas, but it's still got some unique selling points, some unique activation mechanics, whatever it happens to be. But it's a way more generic terrain set that you need, and you've probably already got 3/4 of it at home.
Yeah, that's what.
We spoke about this. We both have custom stuff for Frostgrave. Paul still hasn't finished any of your buildings, or
no,
you got
mate,
one
not a
finished?
single one is what I would call ready to be, pushed off the production line and say, no, that's done, that's good enough.
Whereas I've got one finished, my lighthouse.
And I can confirm statistically 1 is greater than none.
But the problem being, I take it sort of every game, and I feel bad about always playing with that same piece of terrain as a piece of scatter. Club has some nice Frostgrave terrain. We've got some nice snowy rocks and some trees, haven't we?
Yeah, it could do with a bit of TLC. It's started to get a little bit battered, but it hasn't done bad considering how many years use it's had. And like you say, it does look reasonably good.
But as I say, 9 times out of 10, I'm taking that lighthouse with me just to add as a feature piece. I'm not taking my entire set. So maybe we both need to sit there and look at ourselves and actually question, are we better off just doing 1 or 2 feature pieces or pieces that fit the scale and then just having a generic collection for the other stuff? Do you know what I mean?
I absolutely know exactly what you mean, and it's what you were talking about with your... Because you were talking about basically turning your, 20th century Europe Flames of War table into a table, say, for some sort of rank and flank medieval fantasy, mass combat game. And you can take all of the trees and hills and probably even
pathways and rivers,
the walls, rivers, and roads. Even
walls probably not, because the walls are 15mm scale. But
well, yeah, but I mean, maybe not. Maybe the scale is an issue, but you can take 70%, 80% of what you've got and put up, stick a sort of like a what's the word, lath and plaster cottage or a ruined wizard's tower in one corner of the table. Fucking bang, there you go. You've completely you've created an entire table with one piece of terrain effectively, haven't you?
I mean, it's by the same token, when I went to Expo, I wanted to get that battle system stuff, didn't I? For Wasteland Warfare.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was getting into it.
I mean, Wasteland Warfare is a game that you could play on that table we described earlier. You could take your scrubland mat, beige rocks or grey rocks, some little bushes and scatter trees, cactuses, whatever, and then play. And it'll probably work. It's not that killy a game. The demo games we played were basically on tables like that, weren't they?
Yeah.
And it worked fine. Now, And like David's just said, what do you do to sweeten the deal and push the needle to 10? You just take a Retro's 1950s style wreck car, 3D print it, put it on the table, bang, some sort of like 1950s looking retro style diner, bang, there you go. That screams Fallout Wasteland Warfare. And you've done two things in addition to a load of generic stuff. Games like that.
Again, Armada, we've been playing with the scatter islands that we did ages ago for Drowned Earth.
Yep.
And the rock set. That has literally been our Armada games.
Yeah, the game Matt EU
has
rocks.
worked amazingly.
Yep. And
The only reason you bought the bits you did at Partisan was because that is club stuff.
yes.
And this is the thing. Me and Paul are very blessed with our local club. We have invested in terrain for the club. We have got good, usable, multi-purpose terrain for the club that can be used for multiple systems. We have not gone down the rabbit hole of, well, we're going to buy this very specific 40k piece of terrain.
To be fair,
Halfway.
anything that is specific like that was donated, like those Games Workshop 40k Bastion things out of plastic. They were all donated. I mean, Shark says sewers, a 12 by 15 table or larger, is just talking about... he's talking about a display table he saw for... Which game was this? Bolt Action Stalingrad. Yeah, okay. I mean, again, the thing is, Shark, there's a difference between requirement and potential. The thing with, like, you're talking about, like, top level, turning it up to 11, we're going to put hundreds of hours into this table to make this the most immersive Stalingrad experience that we can make it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fucking awesome if that's your thing. But you could just as easily, and we have done this at club, I take my generic hills, trees, some walls, some jungle bits that I actually bought, jungle terrain that I bought, pre-finished, which are basically just some palm trees on some bases that are covered in like dried tea leaves and ground cover. You can put that on a green mat, and I've played Bolt Action on that, and the game works. We stick a couple of the plastic Warlord ruins that the club's got there. And it works absolutely fine. Game works okay. There's enough cover. There's plenty of room to move around. It works just fine. But it's definitely, there are some games that can do that. They can be played at their most basic and at their most the entry level is nowhere, and the dream is right up there.
Frostgrave's terrain itself isn't overly specific, just ruined city. You don't have to go the whole hog and put snow on it like me and Paul are doing, for starters. So you can save yourself a little bit there and just do like a ruined fantasy scape, because then you could use it for a Kings of War game or whatever you happen to want to play with it. Do you know what I mean, for starters?
Yeah.
The problem you have with Frostgrave is when you start down the rabbit hole of scenarios,
yes,
and the specific terrain requirements for scenarios, i.e. you need a bridge, some sewers, you need a tent in the middle of your table, and as Paul has already sort of touched on this evening, the fetish stands. It's all well and good proxying them, but there's something to be said even about playing the game and them being unpainted, because at least they're representative. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the lack of paint obviously is an immersion breaker, but when your scenario says you need 3 demonic portals open to another dimension through which these creatures will spew every turn, and you actually have cool ice portals with swirling mist in the center, as opposed to having 350 mil bases, 350 mil black bases, you know, we effectively just nothing. And I guess everybody's different. Everybody's got their own immersion breakpoint, haven't they? I mean, one of the issues I have, I mean, because we talked about Frostgrave, I think you mentioned it earlier, mate, like taking your Frostgrave terrain and not slathering it in snow. Or, no, I tell you where it was. I talked about it in the last stream when we talked about terrain. There's nothing says you've got to put snow all over everything. But that's the aesthetic of Felstadt. That's, for me, it's a red line. Do you know what I mean? I don't want my Aztec ruins. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to look like North Africa. I want it to look and feel like Frostgrave when I'm playing Frostgrave. And maybe that's a me problem. Tim says as long as the 50 mil base is a square, all is fine. Yeah. But it is a me problem, maybe. But again, I'll tell you what, I'm definitely going to look at game systems differently in future. The terrain question is going to be up there. For me, I mean, again, this whole thing, as the thumbnail.
Moonstone is a prime example here. Moonstone we both own.
Yeah.
We haven't got to the table this year because we've been too busy focusing on, well, West Exodus and other bits and pieces.
Yep.
Well, if we had more generic terrain and had like a fantasy port city and a ruined city for like Malapo, etc., we'd have probably got that to the table this year. Let's be brutally honest, Ginge.
No, I'm gonna say no to that, mate. I'll be brutally honest. I do not have any concerns. When you and I finally play Moonstone, I am gonna break out the old foreground MDF Mordenberg. We just need either a cobblestone mat if we want to go full towny, or we can do a greenfield mat and do rural village. But I can bust out my Mordenberg, trees, hedges, all of the generic shit, all of the time.
No, but my point being, because we've been focused on the games and the systems that require so much more terrain this year, we haven't got that to the table.
Oh, I think, sorry, I see what you're saying. I agree, yeah. I mean,
if we hadn't been
saying to ourselves we're going to do
everything else, we would have probably got Moonstone to the table this year.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, we committed to doing a big Frostgrave campaign, 13 missions or whatever. Every mission is, you need this new unique piece of terrain. I think the last one that we played was the first one where it said all the terrain can be just generic Frostgrave terrain. You just have to lay.
Two, wasn't there? There was two, because Ricky's mind one had no terrain whatsoever.
That's right. And then the other one was just like, it was basically a narrow table, and you had the red glow was moving behind us and pushing us forward, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, fucking.
I mean, Sharks just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, Sharks just opened another fucking huge can of worms, mate. Because this is the other thing, right? I can't think of a good example.
I can. My drop zone commander table. It's in a 120-litre tote under my stairs. There's a 30-litre tote with all the baseboards in. I've got two 30-litre totes denoted just to Carnivale, which isn't even my Carnivale, it's Club's Carnivale.
Yeah.
That's sitting at my house. I've got 1, 2 30-litre totes probably with 40k terrain in various stages of building. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing with my Wild West Exodus because it's just sat on my bookshelf, on my table, and everywhere else. It takes up room. And this is possibly the biggest argument ever as to why your acid house terrain is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, because although...
I'm nicking the club's terrain, Tim. We don't have enough storage space at club, therefore I am the owner of it.
No! Call the police, he's thieving it! Robbing bastard. The thing is like, yeah. I was thinking about Batman, right? I said it earlier. I love Batman miniatures game, but the terrain. What? So I've got 6 or 8 New York style brownstone residential style buildings. I've got a tarmac mat. I've got some sidewalks that are basically just made out of MDF and painted grey and dry brushed. But what other game am I going to play with that? What other game goes for a, 20th century urban American?
You could do Infinity.
Could you?
You could.
I guess you could. I hadn't really considered that. The only game that I was just thinking that I might get away with it was Mythos. Because obviously if you go with the 1920s aesthetic,
Yes.
a lot of the,
Well, again, it's like I'm sat here wanting to play Blackout next week at club and possibly get into Arsenal going forwards into the new year. I have a 4x4 Infinity mat. I do not have any terrain for that Infinity mat. I am starting to print some Flatline City stuff so that I can use my Flatline City terrain for Frostgrave, Blackout, any sort of sci-fi futuristic game, because I don't have it. The only sci-fi futuristic terrain I have to hand right now is this, which is Necromunda stuff. And it's lovely, but fucking Jesus, how much work?
Yeah. Again, this was the other thing that I was going to mention when talking about this was, again, I sort of touched on it, but watching Miniac's video. Miniac does a lot with the airbrush. He's very talented. He makes it all look, like Shark said, they make it look easy. He does a brilliant job. He then puts bloody oil washes and enamel washes to tint everything. But I mean, obviously we watch his 25-minute video, and he doesn't sort of like have an hour thing at the bottom. 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, that's fine. And what did you end up with? You ended up with one 6x8 ruined corner piece. No, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough.
Shark's saying, I mean, again, it's in all sorts of aspects. Shark's right. It's about that. Maybe there is a lot to be said for restraining all of the parameters. So try and keep everything in that medieval fantasy aesthetic. Stick to a scale, 28mm. Stick to a season. keep it grounded in reality. Don't do alien landscapes or bizarre water planets, or do you know what I mean? Maybe there's something to be said for that. The problem is like the longer you stay in the hobby, the more you get pulled in different directions to do different things.
No, I mean, again, our Drowned Earth that we played.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, that's a game I'd still like to explore more, but I would put Drowned Earth on the Table Hog group. To actually get the feel of Drowned Earth, you want that mixture of solid ground and water, and you want that sort of like destroyed dystopian post-apocalyptic look. You know, the junglified apocalypse with loads of water. I mean, it's one of the things that I thought straight away when we played that game of Ghost Archipelago, that game, the second game by Joseph McCulloch. Like,
yeah,
we played it in Scotland, and I thought, yeah, it's fine, it's good, it's like Frostgrave, and we enjoy Frostgrave. But already at the back of my brain, I was thinking, yeah, but the terrain for this is going to be a bitch, you know.
Well, again, Stargrave. Look at Stargrave. The fact that it's all sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No. But, yeah, I
mean, Gasland's weird scale.
You see, again, Gaslands, right? Gaslands is Gaslands has got some good things and some bad things. First thing I'll say about Gaslands is it's very terrain minimal. I think you could have a pretty good game of Gaslands with basically an open table and a couple of rocks on it.
Yeah.
You do have some rather specific requirements for things like your gates during Death Race. But the game functions without them, doesn't it? You can just put two dice on the table 6 inches apart. There you go. There you go. That's the gate. There's nothing to stop you, is there? Mechanically, it would work.
I don't like that medium grey. That is not grey. That is fucking beige.
I don't know. For me, the first thing is always going to be rules. Does the game play well? Do I like the rule set? But I tell you what, I think more and more and more, the next thing is going to be, what's the terrain demand? How likely am I to get it to the table without 200 hours work?
How stressful is it going to be?
Yeah. Because, as I say, see, yeah, Shark's right. Buildings, you see, the thing is, you've got to be clever about it. You can do, say, for example, you take our sort of scrubland basis. You know, you can just create some generic-looking foliage in a variety of greens, and then just swap the buildings out. You know, here we go. Here's a couple of 18th century Wild West buildings. Here's a couple of fucking 1950s-esque style ruined Fallout buildings. Here's a bloody watchtower and a landing pad for 40k. You know, and 80% of the table stays the same.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's an argument to it.
Thing is, but are the Table Hog games... You see, again, right? The problem I've got with this is, when I think of the games that I just think are probably the best games I've played...
Carnivale,
Infinity... They are the Table Hog games. They are the games... Now, so here's the question for the last 5 minutes of the show, and we'll get everybody's input in chat.
You know what we haven't even mentioned, and I don't know if Tim's still here?
What?
BattleTech.
I mean, Christ, BattleTech with its restriction on hex-based terrain. I mean,
Or
Jesus.
even if you don't go to hex-based terrain, but the fact that it's 6 mil.
Alpha Strike, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, the thing is, though, it's like, even if you take Shark's argument, so Shark says he sort of pretty much stays in this 28mm box. If you wanted to go into your 6mm box, there are plenty of wargaming rule sets out there that do 6mm gaming. Do you know what I mean? You can. I don't have any on the top of my head, but if we had a tame Jerry in chat, I'm sure Jerry could give us probably 2 modern 6mm games, 2 futuristic 6mm games, and 2 fucking historical 6mm rule systems without even trying. Or even somebody like Toros or one of those guys could probably just reel them off. So, you know, even if you're saying, okay, well, BattleTech is 6mm, yeah, but you could build your whole stable of gaming around a tiny scale like 6mm if you want. Jesus Christ, I could bring in Epic for 40k, 6mm. There you go. And to be fair, you could probably play a lot of the same terrain from BattleTech as you could in Epic for 40k. Epic 40k. But what I was going to say for the last 5 minutes was, it's gone. What was I talking about? Yeah, are the table hog games the best games because they're table hogs, or is it just a bizarre coincidence, or is it just a me thing?
I think there's a presence to the game because of the terrain and because of the setup
Armoured
and
Clash.
everything.
Well done, Tim. Yeah, I was talking bollocks apparently. Thanks for the reminder, mate.
But
I don't know what to do without you.
You've got because of the presence on the tabletop. Do you tend to enjoy them more because it's a full experience of you being in that world versus some of the games that are not set in that world? Do you know what I mean?
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Malifaux, you have used 3 or 4 different sets at club, and I've noticed you keep coming back to the following recipe: a green mat with some trees,
yeah,
and the ruined Gothic 40k-esque stuff.
Yeah.
That is what you keep religiously coming back to.
And I think Malifaux benefits from a more open terrain play because it's not a very range-based game. There aren't that many factions in the game which can piss out a ton of damage at range. It is quite a close quartersy game. It's very movement-based, and if you start sticking loads of terrain in the middle of the table that you can't negotiate around easily, it actually disrupts the game. It prefers an open play style, which is very forgiving in terrain. And I think Malifaux is actually... I mean, I've seen Malifaux played on Wild West style desert boards with just a couple of rocks, and the game still works fine because it's so hinged around objectives.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not even dabbling with that. You're picking the same shit up constantly for your games.
Again,
even though it's a game that you can play open, and you could throw the jungle stuff on there.
Yeah, that is true. It is true. We are very... I think we've played a couple of times with the sort of like the Southeast Asia hut style look. But no, you are right. And again, to be fair, part of what makes me lazy is the game is very forgiving. Because the game delivers the experience. It doesn't really matter what I put on the table, so I don't think about it. I just reach for it and put it down, and the game just delivers.
Because again, that is something I will say, like Drop Zone. If you don't build your table properly, even though it's a terrain hog and you've got to have an all custom setup for it, if you don't have quite the right balance of elevated terrain, some covery terrain, etc., etc., the game can go south very fucking quick.
Yeah. I mean, we have a whole live stream a whole hours section. If you check our back catalogue, guys, you will find, I think it's roughly around the 10, 11 months ago in our live section of our channel, there is a stream about actually putting the table together to make the game playable and the way that game rules interact with terrain layouts, and we go into that because that's a whole fucking thing, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
We could talk about that for an hour on its own. I mean, as I say, I think for my part in shot, I think I'm really chuffed that, because David came up with the idea of this, the tagline terrain hog, but I still don't know the answer. I think David's onto something, that those games that have the really specific nitpicky terrain needs, for me they are more immersive. I think because often when you get a game that's got quite specific terrain needs, it's because the rules interact with it, and I'm a rules guy. So I think, because that's definitely true of Infinity, it's definitely true of Carnivale, isn't it, mate? The rule systems interact with the terrain in a way that more generic wargame systems, that the terrain is not there to determine a level of cover or obscurity. The terrain is there to give you movement options, jumping, leaping, climbing, you know.
And even drop zone commander, area denial, because it's over 9 inches high.
Yeah, and
you can't fly over it.
Yeah, protecting your flying units and blocking movement. So maybe there's an element of, I find those games more immersive, I find the rules more involving and engaging, so maybe it comes down to it's a me thing. Maybe that's just me, and actually it doesn't necessarily, there's nothing about being a terrain hog that makes a game good. It just makes it awkward.
So I was going to say, I'm going to come here with a parting shot for me.
Go on then.
I have recently been playing some co-op Space Station Zero with Ricky at mine. I am currently using the Infinity paper mat that comes in the starter set, because it's basically the right size for Space Station Zero.
Yep.
And beg, borrow, and stealing whatever sci-fi or sci-fi-esque terrain that I can lay my hands on. I've used some Gaslands containers to build container stacks. I've got some wooden MDF generators that I need to get painted up and done. Just beg, borrowing, and stealing. It doesn't overly look like the interior of a desolate spaceship that people have bamfed across the universe to get stuck in and meet their maker, but it works for the game because I'm playing it for the experience and playing a game with my friend. Do I want to pimp my sci-fi terrain collection and do Space Station Zero properly? Oh, fucking heck yes, I do. But
because again, Space Station Zero is very much an interior style space game, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's that thing of, again, I can't even repurpose bits that I've got for Infinity or other stuff because it just isn't the same vibe. It's very desolate and falling apart in Space Station Zero. But
tell you what, I don't know if you've thought about it.
Shot.
What about that Daedalus Station terrain I bought? Would that work for Space Station Zero?
It would work. The only problem being then filling the interior with scatter.
Okay, so it's a good framework, but again, you've then got to have a ton of consoles, like machines, ducts,
conduits. And Space
Station
Zero is weird because it has like a roll mechanic for placing your terrain.
Does it?
Yeah, for segments and stuff. So I think longer term, I'm just going to get on with it and get it done. I mean, I've been interested in doing some 5 parsecs, but again, I don't have sci-fi terrain at the moment properly to do a proper 5 parsecs. It's in the works. I'm getting there with it, but it's one of those things of it. Like everything terrain related, it needs a lot of work. And particularly for Space Station Zero, it's a solo game.
Yes.
And 5 parsecs. I'm doing this only for myself.
For yourself, yeah.
Or I can say, fuck it, break my immersion a little bit and just play and enjoy the game for what it is and do some proxy work.
To be fair, though, I don't know how you feel about it, but I think if I was doing a solo experience, I'd be even more ruthless. I think I'd be more willing to cut corners. If I know that I'm going to be playing X at the gaming club on Monday night and I can't cancel the game because the terrain's not good enough, I'm willing to just like go with it. Whereas if it's like, for me, if I was like, say, doing Rangers of Shadow Deep and I'm like, I could play tonight, but that building's not painted, so no, I'm going to paint that building. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how you feel on that, whether you'd be the same.
Look, no, I'd rather hook dice, but that's me. So, it's 10. Let's get going.
This one is a great one for interaction, guys. Get in the comments down below. I'm really interested in this idea, in the question of, does this, you know, is this something that we should, almost like, should game reviewers be putting this right at the front of games reviews? What is its terrain requirements? Is it is it a bitch to, do you need just the right fucking terrain? And does it come in the 2-player star set? Does that deliver for you? Do you know what I mean? Or am I just like, no, you're making something out of fuck all. Just, most games are fine. Just leave it. Because I don't know. We keep coming. Terrain is a great one for us because, God, it gets us. It really gets us fucking going. Does terrain? Right. Let's call it. Thank you to everybody over in the chat. These guys are more than, these guys are the show, basically. We're just a fucking couple of idiots here sitting while giving you the chance to read the intelligent people off to my left. If you can only find time to do one thing before you go tonight, please click the like button on the stream. It does help us with the YouTube algorithm just a tiny smidgen. If you can do the other shit that's listed below it, then that's cool as well. But the like button is what we would like you to do, if possible. And I reckon, water features, go away, shark. I reckon that's it, mate. Should we call it?
It is. I think it's time to go the fuck home.
I've got some paint on minis, guys. I painted some minis. I very rarely get paint on anything during live stream, so I'm well chuffed. Right, we're going to call it. See you next week.